Videotaped live at the studios of City Video at the Rage nightclub. It is time for Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells you the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition. And now here's the host of your show, Paul Stanford and Paul Loney.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. My name's Paul Stanford.
And I'm Paul Loney.
We're here with the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We're an Oregon political committee that's circulating a petition, the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, which will tax and regulate the sales of marijuana to adults and allow medicinal marijuana and completely legalize industrial hemp.
Yeah, it's true. That's, as our tagline at the beginning of the show says, this is the truth. We're here to tell you the truth, and our petition is about telling the truth and getting the truth back out there, which is why we would call our political action committee to restore hemp. We want to restore hemp to its rightful place, to its truthful place.
Yeah, hemp produces more fiber, protein, and oil than any other plant on this planet, and our petition would allow Oregon farmers to cultivate this valuable crop and allow Oregon industries to develop sustainable products and practices.
Yeah, the entire crop will be purchased by the Oregon Liquor Control Commission and then be sold to state-run stores and packaged that way for use. And part of that also they would package it to pharmacies and control it for pharmacies. And so we would work that way with it, which would help patients who need it for medical purposes.
Yes, it would also allow doctors to prescribe it through those pharmacies, and that wouldn't be taxed. The marijuana in pharmacies would be sold at cost, so it would be very inexpensive. The sales to adults through the state liquor store system, we would have a tax on the sales of the product to adults, and through any bars or public houses that wanted to add marijuana as something, as long as they bar minors from entering and they have a license, they could be supplied by the OLCC. We actually changed the name of the OLCC to the Oregon Intoxicant Control Commission rather than the Oregon Liquor Control Commission, because we'll be including cannabis in their wares.
And it would make more sense anyways, because the Oregon Liquor Control Commission right now does deal with certain medical drugs, and it packages liquor as medicine for some people. And so then also what we're really want to point out is that this does allow, this question always comes up, it does allow people to grow at home, because we classify seeds and starts as hemp, and hemp would be not regulated by this initiative. You'd be allowed to grow hemp.
So as in the Netherlands today, the cultivation of marijuana for personal use and the sales of seeds and small plants and starts or cuttings would be legalized, and so you wouldn't be mandated to go through the state system. But since most people who smoke tobacco don't grow their own tobacco, we would guess that there would still be a pretty open market through the liquor store system and local taverns and public houses.
Well, definitely, because not everybody has a green thumb, let's face it, and not everybody wants to take responsibility of watering a plant on a weekly basis or whatever, and having to worry about it. Some people just want to pop down to the local store and buy some, or go into the local public house and enjoy a little bit with their friends. And so that's what this is all about, is basically restoring freedom and freedom of choice. And one thing I want to make clear right up front is, sure, we like to see public houses open up after this initiative passes, but it's still illegal under this to drive under the influence. Under the influence of anything, it's still illegal. So we want to make that perfectly clear to start off with. And I'm real happy that this does cover the medical purposes for marijuana. A lot of people out there use marijuana on a daily basis. Some people only use it on a weekly basis when the need strikes, but they do need marijuana for a medical purpose. And this addresses that. This takes them out of the black market, out of the hands of the common criminals, out of their hands of trying to grow it for themselves, and says, okay, we're going to treat it like a regular herb, a pharmaceutical herb.
Exactly. It would allow the sale through pharmacies, and so people would be certain that they're getting medicinal quality marijuana through pharmacies. So we're doing that through a petition process, and right now we have closing in on about almost 20,000 signatures. We need to turn in about 100,000 signatures because we need 73,261 valid registered Oregon voter signatures signed to put this on the ballot. So we need your help to do that. We've been sending out a lot of petitions in the past month. We've mailed out well over 1,300. We've been lobbying our liquor store systems. We need your help to put this on the ballot. We've only got until July of 1998 to get the rest of the signatures. So even if you can only get one signature, your own, or you want to get your friends, or you want to help us by coming to something like the Rolling Stone concerts on January 30th and 31st. We'll be staffing that. If you'd like to come out and help us in public, please give us a call at 235-4606. That's 235-4606. Our office is manned from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. You'll find us in there a lot of the times otherwise, and we have an extensive voicemail system that can handle over 100 calls. So please call us. We'd like to send you this petition.
Yeah, and if you're outside the Portland viewing area, of course, it's area code 503, and the Rolling Stones concert is up here in Portland. But definitely it should be a lot of fun. We're getting people together to go out there and petition in teams on both nights. So come up for out for one night or both nights.
Yeah, it's a Friday and Saturday night.
And I'm sure afterwards we'll be retiring to a nice place to have a celebratory drink. So come on down and help us petition and meet some friends. And if you can't do that, like Paul said, get your own signature, that of your friends, that of your parents, your roommates, whoever. So we need all the signatures we can get.
Give us a call and get those petitions at the number on your screen. That's area code 503-235-4606. If you have access to the internet at your home, at the library, or through a local university or school, you can look at our website at www.crrh.org. You can even print these petitions right from the internet and watch streaming videos and other things. So we urge you to look at our website because it's just chock full of information. We've got a news archive of stories on cannabis from around the world that goes back to 1992 that's mirrored in the Netherlands and other places. So.
Yeah, and so please help us if you can. Tonight we were going to have a guest on our show, a victim of the marijuana task force, a victim of a illness that needs marijuana, needs cannabis to help out with those symptoms of that illness. That would have been Diane Densmore, who probably a lot of you have heard of. Say was a victim of the marijuana task force. She ran the Cannabis Buyers Club, a local version of it here, which help out people here who need it as their drug of medicinal need and medicinal help. But she can't be here because she's suffering from some medical problems right now due to the fact that the police have harassed her and she can't get access.
Yeah, actually, I talked to her this evening, and she was the person who was running the alternative health clinic here in Portland and was busted. I guess it was in late September initially. Then they came back in late October and busted her again and took her to jail for over a week. They held her in there, and I'm sure most of you feel a lot safer because this lady, Diane Densmore, was locked up. But she is now having to take a urinalysis test at least once a week, call in daily, 7 days a week, down to the Multnomah County Jail and their supervisors, and report periodically to them upon demand, and to undergo urinalysis testing. And because of that, she can't use her medicine, and she's doing really, really poorly. She says her cardiac problems are starting to increase, and she's got a number of other medical problems, and then she's under an incredible amount of stress. And she misses her friends, the people she used to work with in the club. She really said she she was missing some of those folks. So if you want to get in touch with Diane Densmore and give her some support, give us a call. We can put you in touch with her. Call us at 235-4606. She couldn't make it tonight. Hopefully she'll be back with us in mid to late January when we tape again. So she'll be, hopefully she'll be feeling a little bit better and can give us a report directly.
Yeah, it's just really a shame that the police had to spend all of our tax dollars on this. They had a multi-month surveillance on the Internal Health Center. They sent in undercover police numerous times. They sent in
informants.
They sent in street informant in. And the thing is that they had a real doctor write up real notes. And we don't know why this doctor did this. Whether this doctor was pressured because he was under some sort of suspicion himself for some sort of crime, or whether the doctor is a drug warrior and want to take part in. And if that's the case, then he's writing, false notes in which he should report to the state licensing board of medicine to figure out why this guy is writing phony prescriptions for non-existent ailments. So there's a lot of questions there that haven't been answered by the local police department or the local district attorney. And so I would suggest, calling the local district attorney's office up. The Multnomah County District Attorney's Office. If you live in the Tri-County area, they're in the blue pages of the phone book. Under Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, call them up and say, hey, why are you folks prosecuting Diane Densmore and others? It's not just her. There's other people as well that were arrested from this whole fallout of this marijuana task force. It's just a travesty.
Yeah, they arrested some of the people who were helping there, volunteering, and it's a shame that very ill people who are dying. In fact, the Alternative Health Clinic, a few of their patients would be dying every week or a lot. People who have cancer and advanced HIV, and they found that cannabis helped them. Cannabis helped the cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy restore their appetite. Cannabis helped the AIDS patients restore their appetite that were suffering from the wasting syndrome. So to go in and arrest the people providing relief to these people, to me, seems particularly evil and cruel. Unfortunately, some of the officers involved in that have questionable ethics, in my opinion. A lot of officers, though, support innovations like the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, and they want to make certain that they don't have to go out and arrest nonviolent, family-raising adults using marijuana in the privacy of their home. So a lot of times we have law enforcement officers sign our petition. So we urge you to help us put this on the ballot. Give us a call and get the petition at 235-4606.
Yeah, correct. Call us and get the petition. You'll be amazed at how many of your friends have already signed this petition or would be willing to sign it as soon as they, see this. A lot of people, still don't know it exists out there. So we need your help to help get the word out that, hey, there's a petition out there to make cannabis legal and regulated in this state. And, we can be the leaders once again. Oregon is known as being the leader for many things, and especially in healthcare, and we can do it. So we need your help. But right now, I want to talk about with Diane Densmore and the other folks arrested. I mean, it was just a travesty. The Portland police come in, spend all that money, and there was no complaints from the public on this. This was all police generated. The whole controversy about this. There's the police, they didn't say they were getting calls from the public to go out and bust these people. People had gotten some publicity for running the Alternative Health Center, for providing cannabis for people who desperately needed it as a medicine. But the police didn't, they created their own crime, in a sense.
It seems to me that they have a political agenda, at least the officers in the drug enforcement units that pursued this case to arrest medical patients, because the district attorney of Multnomah County, Michael Shrunk, had said that he wasn't going to prosecute marijuana cases. Well, Here, he is prosecuting a marijuana case. So that's one politician, I guess. But we'd like to point out that, some people say that marijuana is medicinally available over the counter because there's a substance called marinol that contains one of the psychoactive substances that's in cannabis. It contains THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol. There are other non-psychoactive and psychoactive substances in marijuana that have medicinal properties. CBD, or cannabidiol, is a anti-spastic agent that stops multiple sclerosis patients' spasms very efficiently. If you're undergoing a spasm with multiple sclerosis, you can't swallow a marinol pill and wait an hour and a half for it to work. Just a few hits of marijuana help multiple sclerosis patients. And the British Medical Association just noted that in a survey and an article they had in the British Medical Journal saying that marijuana should be medicinally available. The Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, the question itself says exactly, yes vote, permit state license, cultivation, and sale of marijuana for medical purposes and to adults. It really stresses the medical aspects of our initiative because we set up a number of medical studies through the Oregon Health Sciences University and other medical research facilities here in the state of Oregon. And all of that's funded through the taxation of the recreational sale of marijuana. So our initiative will help medical patients not only get medicinal marijuana, but also access the health they need.
Yeah, if you stop and think about it, smoking marijuana is the best delivery control substance for THC. Much better than a pill, as you said, that you pill, you have difficulty of swallowing sometimes, the time it takes for it to break down your stomach, then to go through the stomach wall, the lining, into your bloodstream, and then to the muscles that need it, or the nerves, or wherever it needs to go to. Versus smoking, it's always bad to put things in your lungs, but if that's the only choice you have, into your lungs right away, it's getting the oxygen and blood mixes right away. So within minutes, it's where it needs to go to. And
some of the patients that take marinol complain that an hour and a half later they either are too stoned, that the effects strike too suddenly and too intensely, or they don't get that effect at all. And so they really can't get an effective dose they can't measure it too well orally.
Yeah, it is the best delivery control substance. And I want to get back to a point you made about Michael Shrunk, the local DA, being a politician. And he is, I've heard him interviewed on this on a talk show, a radio talk show here in town, and he basically said that I'm a politician, and right now marijuana is against the law. But obviously left it open that the law has changed. He'll be supportive of it. Michael Shrunk is not going to be out in front of the band leading it. Some people think that Michael Shrunk should be, and his job as a politician, and he's not going to be out in front of the band, which is where we come in. We have to lead the band. There's, the majority of people here in Oregon want to have medical marijuana available, and we can do that through this petition. And then people like Michael Shrunk will just say, okay, it's there. This is the people have spoken, and we can do this with this initiative. So I was going to say, Michael Shrunk is a politician, and he's being pushed around by the police department here, or certain members of it.
Yeah. I heard a report recently that Michael Shrunk actually admitted that he had a very ill relative up in Washington State that was undergoing chemotherapy, and that he actually procured and supplied marijuana to this very ill relative. So now his office is in charge of prosecuting a number of very ill people that, like his relative, needed marijuana to help save their lives and treat their symptoms.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's true or not, but still, though, it just shows you if Michael Shrunk was saying earlier he wouldn't prosecute these, but he was presented by the police department in such a high-profile case. Is what it comes down to. This was a very high-profile case.
And a deputy DA that really wants to pursue it.
No, but he was presented to them by the police department. If it would have been just one little person growing and given to a few others, he could have, had to fall between the cracks. But because the police spent so much time on it, so much money, so many officers doing this, and two, well-publicized raids. I mean, both raids were, Oregonian front page news, I believe.
And on every channel in the area.
And so that he couldn't just ignore it. He had to go ahead and prosecute this. The police pushed him into it, or certain members of the police. Certain members of the police, don't believe in your rights. That's what I've got to, that's the simple, sad fact. Most police officers do believe in your rights, but some don't, and they're the ones that are, pushing around the DA's office, sadly.
So another thing that our ballot title says specifically on the medical issue is that Commission will sell marijuana at cost to pharmacies and medical research facilities for medical purposes. We need your help. That's why we're here, is to get you involved in the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act. So call us, please, at 235-4606. That's 235-4606, and get these petitions. If you're outside of the Portland area, call 503-235-4606. We'll be happy to send you out 1, 2, a dozen, 50 petitions, however many you need. Let us know, because we need your help to put this on the ballot.
Well, that's important, that the Commission will sell this medical cannabis to licensed research facilities, because one of the first things that Ronald Reagan did when he came into office, he cut off all funding for research for cannabis. And as we all know, that researchers are dependent upon funding, usually federal, for the research, especially in medical. And if you don't do research, you don't keep your job as a professor at a university, or you don't get tenure to keep your job. And then you got to keep doing your research and keep publishing papers. And as soon as Ronald Reagan cut off the federal funding for cannabis, every researcher just dropped it.
Yeah.
And if we can present to them at a reasonable cost medical marijuana, cannabis, there'll be a lot more researchers back into the subject here.
Yeah. Also, they cut off the supply to get legal marijuana for medicinal purposes for a study. You have to get permission from NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And NIDA hasn't granted permission. There's one study that was going to go forward, done at the University of California at San Francisco Medical School, and they wanted to study the effects of marijuana on HIV-infected patients. And the Dr. Abrams there, Donald Abrams, sought permission to receive legal medical marijuana, and his study was funded all through, but NIDA and approved at a number of different levels, but NIDA denied access to medical marijuana.
Yeah,
so it's difficult for these researchers not only to get funding, but they can't even get the substance from the government.
That's why I said that this one here, because we'll provide it to licensed research facilities at cost. I mean, it's going to open up a boom in research for this.
Yeah, a number of states allowed medical marijuana, but they never provided a method to supply medical patients. In fact, 36 states, including Oregon, had medical marijuana at one time or another. And over, I think it's 26 now, have medical marijuana today, legally allowed, but only in California are they allowing patients to cultivate their own, and that's the only place where there really is a system of delivery for patients.
And of course, though, every researcher who's actually studied this has said that basically there's enough research out there already that says that cannabis does work for a number of illnesses, whatever you want to call it, of problems with the human body. We know that. That every time they do a research, they just go ahead and catalog all the past studies.
And they're doing it again.
Yeah, they're doing it again.
Another. The National Institute of Medicine, through the National Science Foundation, is just doing another one at the behest of the federal drug czar.
Yep,
because of the passage of the bills in California.
California and Arizona, they wanted come up with another one because they were pressured into it. They were denying it, and so now they can say, well, actually, we're doing something. We're cataloging all the past research. They're not doing new research.
No, they're doing a few forums around the country. One of them in Los Angeles, New Orleans, and a final one in Washington, D.C., where they're allowing all sorts of public input. A couple of the researchers actually are from Oregon Health Sciences University. There are only 5 researchers involved on the project, and 2 of them are from right here in Portland at the Oregon Health Sciences University. But, you know, our initiative is what we hope is going to allow patients to legally get medical marijuana through pharmacies, and I think that's a big breakthrough for them.
Yeah, and it is going to be a big breakthrough for the patients. You know, so many people, just the idea that they can just go to the local pharmacy and get it with their prescription is so much better than I stated earlier, than trying to find some local dealer that has some, and hoping that it's good, clean stuff, because you never know what's going on.
Or no pesticides, or who knows what.
Who knows what they spray on the stuff to, make it seem better. But just that simple, in their mind, they know that it's safe. I mean, it's just so much better. It's just a travesty, that we don't allow this medicine. I mean, why should the government tell you what is medicine, what isn't medicine? We're all adults enough to make up our own minds.
So get our petition. That's the solution that we keep working at here. And we urge you to call us and get these things at 235-4606. I hate to be redundant, but we do need your help. Without your help, we might not make it. We need everyone's help that possibly can. And so give us a call at 235-4606 and get a petition. Get some of these and help us get some signatures. Even if it's just your own, we'll be happy to send you one if you just want one. And help us put this on the ballot.
Yeah, because I'm sure most of you out there watching us, have known of somebody personally who has been helped by medical cannabis. It's some way, or it's somebody with multiple sclerosis or chemotherapy or wasting syndrome. I mean, or just horrible pains from all the chemical exposures. That's a new one coming up with these chemical toxic exposures people have, that cannabis helps to relieve that total all-over body pain.
Morning sickness,
yeah,
and menstrual cramps. Cannabis was actually prescribed back to Queen Victoria over 100 years ago for menstrual cramps, and was used for that for many, many years. So right now, marijuana isn't allowed for morning sickness and menstrual cramps, and in the areas where it has been studied in conjunction with pregnancy and women's health issues, they found that it has increased the birth weight of babies and had no detrimental effects upon women's reproductive systems.
No, not at all. I mean, they did that extensive study down in Jamaica on that, and no problems at all. And actually, the mothers that smoked high amounts of cannabis in Jamaica had healthier babies, higher birth weights, less problems. It's just, we know it works. I mean, earlier this century, cannabis tinctures were the rage, because people knew it worked so well. So we've told you the truth, hopefully, about medical cannabis, and we hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, we urge you to, one last time, give us a call and get this petition. Let's get some research on this issue. Let our university scientists study marijuana and find out the truth about its links to women's health issues. Call us at 235-4606. Thanks for watching another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense.
That's right. Let's end the prohibition. Let's let truth get out there.
Thanks.
Thanks, and good night.